My calendar was consumed with commitments to constantly challenging myself. Harder, higher, stronger, faster. Yet no amount of training could have prepared me for the trail that life took when in the blink of an eye, my head halted a hardball. I knew my name and where I was, enough for the Starnberg Hospital to send me home to the Bavarian loft where I lived alone above cattle and corn, sheep and shovels. Intuition told me there was more than color and closure of my eyes, though who was I to question an experienced medical professional? Traumatic brain injury. My brain had been bleeding, swelling, and my skull was fractured. While I was home, alone, wavering between states of consciousness with a black eye. Each promise felt like a false summit. Taping, stitching, acupuncture and manipulation, singing bowl therapy, craniosacral therapy, physical therapy, and eye gymnastics. My hope faded like the sun behind the Alps outside of my Krankenhaus window. Following 6 months of therapies, countless examinations, and medical opinions, a combined team of neuro-ophthalmologists verified the irreversible 70% vision loss. Buried in thought of stigma, labels, and loss, I could not see any light on the trail ahead. My employment, working visa, residency permit, and driver's license quickly became history. Like Goldilocks in search of the perfect fit. Germany, Canada, and then the United States, I was transferred between specialists and treatment centers for more than 2 years. When Denver Health was deemed just right, with the little eyesight which remained, withering, I stared stoically at the Colorado Rockies from my hospital bed for months. The Rockies, mountains, the only place I could fathom existing, where I could be alone and fade away with Mother Nature. With no sense of direction or purpose, after 26 months in medical care, I chose to follow my inner compass towards mountains. With trail shoes, a backpack, and no belief that there could ever be a happily ever after, I began seeing the world differently. From elite fitness to less than the weight of my parents' Labrador, a skeleton of who I once was, tears streamed as I mourned the physical strength and body I once knew. On my first attempts to run trails in Andorra, straddling the border of France and Spain. From Australia to Argentina, New Zealand to Nepal, from Peru to Patagonia, Italy, Iceland, and India, from the Andes to the Annapurnas, mountains were beginning to house a transformation from losing sight to finding light. Fast packing in the shadows of Annapurna giants and a podium finish in my first ever ultramarathon, 10 months after getting out of hospital, serendipity started to surface. Following that first trip around the sun, including 13 mountain ranges between Europe, Asia, Oceania, South, and then North America, I chose to return to Nepal to explore my intrigue with altitude and a path in search of purpose. The simplicity of running shoes was enhanced by boots and belay devices, helmets, harnesses, crampons, and crevasses. Motivated to learn and quench my curiosity of what my body is capable of climbing closer to the sun, I set up a base in Kathmandu where I immersed myself in the local trail running and climbing communities. Slowly easing into life above 4,000 meters. With time and training, a trio of 6,000 meter climbs. Island Peak, Lobuche, and skiing on Mira Peak, a solid base was built. COVID's mountainous entrance in the east provided an opportunity for goal setting. Monotonous months of building strength, fitness, and technical skills in the world's most polluted city, in anticipation of climbing Amadablam, the Matterhorn of the Himalayas. With significant scarring on my frontal lobe, chronic headaches, no depth perception, and a fraction of the eyesight I once had, standing atop one of the Himalayas' most iconic peaks at nearly 7,000 meters, the valley below personified all that I've overcome. Traumatic brain injury had led me to within days of death. Climbing through its wake sparked wonder about life in a different type of death zone. The one they call 8,000 meters. Manaslu, 8,163 meters, was standing in my backyard. I had run nearly 200 kilometers around her base. Her simplicity and proximity appealed. Standing on her summit, as vivid as the colors of my down suit, I radiated with disbelief and dedication to those who had not given up on me when I was drowning in doubt that life with a disability was worth fighting for. Climbing the remaining 13 8,000ers with such ease was highly unlikely. Yet, life has prepared me to do hard things. The name came as naturally as the air becoming denser as I descended towards base camp. Vision 8,000. Within days, my friend and expedition leader Mingma Ji drafted a blueprint of the remaining 8,000 meter climbs within 2 years. Dalagari's descent brought me down, both body and mind. Kachinjunga led to wrong turns, take twos, and witnessing death up close. Makalu felt like numbers were growing, yet space was not. Crowds and competitions on K2 deterred, yet did not distract my confidence. Amid storms and a relentless summit ridge, I dug deeply into the nature of impermanence on Broad Peak. Reality hit hard with expedition-ending avalanches on Nanga Parbat. Shocking base camp antics, selfie sticks, sickness, and surprising costs, life and monetary, foreshadowed an end on Annapurna 1. 7 summits amid an 8,000 meter scene, which has become a complicated situation. I turned to mountains for serenity, light, and direction, not for competition, headlines, nor fame. Amid a story that seemed to be going in a fairy tale direction, enter a plot twist, a pivot away from racing, records, and route traffic. Keeping my values prioritized, I walked away proudly and intentionally toward a welcoming community with whom I connect in deep conversation, engaging climbing and backcountry skiing. Today, with multiple breaks in my leg, along with a shattered ankle, 29 screws, 4 plates, and donated bone from a sweet soul, I am thankful for lessons of impermanence and strength found in the scars of my TBI. Working through the ripples of an ice climbing fall, I find myself digging deep to harness that strength, knowing my purpose lies in helping others question the stories their minds tell them about possibility and perspective. From the top of K2, Kachinjunga or even Cascade in my new backyard. I may be small, one of more than 8 billion, yet the ways I choose to respond to adversity allows others to see what resilience and possibility can look like. That is significant.